Hi, I'm Dr. Ferry, and we're starting the last module of this course, Entrepreneurship and Human-Centered Design. This is the first presentation in this module, and this is the overview of human-centered design. And as you might guess, it's centered on the humans. It's basically, who do you want to help? And it's all based on building products and services to satisfy and to meet the needs of people. And so the whole focus on this is on the people, for you to be able to empathize with them, their challenges, their difficulties, the things they want to do, the things they'd like to be able to do, and for you to be very curious about how they're feeling and to be asking them questions. And the whole thing is built on your desire to help them. There's a graphic that I like that was made by a company called IDEO, and it's a Venn diagram with three different circles. One of them is desirability, and that is where it all starts. That is the human need. What do we want to do? What do we need to do? How do we help people? What should we do as a society? All those are wrapped around the human needs, desirability. And then over here is feasibility. That is, can we do this? Can we build this? Do we have the science for this? Do we have the analysis for this? It's a feasibility of making our products. And the last thing is viability, and that is like the business model. Do we have a business model that will make it viable? The marketing. And what IDEO said is that the sweet spot for innovation, for sustainable innovation, for ones that will sell and have longevity to them, is innovation that's done at the intersection of all these. You take into consideration the desirability, feasibility, and viability. And that also means that when you have a design team, it really helps to have people from different perspectives. Desirability may be from the social sciences, the humanities, the design areas, and like product design, for example. And feasibility, you have people from the engineering, science, computer science area, viability from the business area. And there are more than just the customers involved in here. In terms of humans, there are the customers, their wants and needs, the designers, the developers, the makers, or those people that manufacture it, and the sellers. And all of them form the stakeholders. And the design process is one where you really need to include all of these people and their perspectives. Now, starting out at the human-centered design, this graphic shows it as several stages, 5 different stages. And it shows it as a circle here because it circles around itself and it repeats itself. Now, this idea of the human-centered design I got from referencing Professor Wayne Lee's work, who is in the College of Design at Georgia Tech. And also, a lot of this work is based in design thinking, which was started by Stanford Design School. And this whole module is built on this process. And notice that the humans are shown at the center because in each of these areas, you can go back and talk to the humans, either the humans that are the customers or any of the stakeholders. We're going to go through these individually and give you a little bit more detail about them. So starting with the customer discovery phase. Customer discovery includes a segmenting your population. Basically, who do you want to help? You can take your whole population and you can divide them out, partition them out by geographic. Is it people in this part of the world or that part of the world? Or maybe it's people who live in rural areas versus urban areas. You can also separate them out by demographics. Are you trying to help kids or senior citizens or working adults? Or are you trying to aim products toward one gender or another? And then if you look at behavioral, that's how people behave, their hobbies, their work, things like that. Do you want to help dog owners? Do you want to help people who like to be in the outside a lot? Do you like to help people who cook? The behavioral parts. And so picking your segment of your population that you want to help often starts by you noticing a problem amongst a group of people. Maybe you noticed a problem by some people, oh, they have a problem with sleeping or a problem with food. In my case, I look at it and say, I've got elderly relatives, and I say, I see some of them struggling when they want to live on their own and some of the challenge that they face. So you kind of notice a problem, general problem, and you have a category of people. So that's what you want to start with. And then you go and talk to the people and you really find a little bit more detail. So you interview them and find in deeper. What do they need? What's difficult? What's challenging? What's limiting? And the methods, you do interviews, but you also might observe their behavior. If they're trying to do something, you observe how they do it now and where they might struggle. And going back to this ideas here, the basic idea is when you're interviewing people, be curious, ask them follow-up questions, actively listen, try to probe things, try to get them to tell their stories, what they find interesting, what their underlying needs are, and empathize with them, feel what they're feeling. And that's how you're going to know if things are really resonating, if there's certain topics that really, really important to them. And that's what you want to capture. Moving on in this diagram here, let's go to the define stage. And that's where you take all of the data that you have from the customer stage, all the interviews, and you put them all together, all the different people you interviewed, and you put it together and you analyze it. You look for common pain points or challenges, common themes among all the people that you interviewed, and try to understand what the underlying needs are. And once you define that, you get a much better idea of what you want to do. Now, this is the topic you want to address. This is a problem you want to address. At that point, you start ideating, brainstorming, collaborating with others to come up with a concept. This is the concept, the solution that you're going to have. A prototype is, let's go on to the prototype one. A prototype is a rendering, a physical rendering of your idea. And I'm showing this again as a cycle that you go around here and you go around multiple times. And each time you go around this cycle, you're going to iterate on your design. So the first time through, your prototype might be just a sketch, something pretty simple, like a sketch of somebody at a desk. And then you go around the cycle again and you get more customer feedback and you iterate on it. Maybe this time you come up with a CAD design that's a lot more exact. And you iterate again, get more ideas, and this time maybe come up with a mock model of it, like a 3D rendering, or like in this case, a wood table. So each time you get more exact and more elaborate on your prototypes. And similarly, you're testing, you're getting some customer feedback on these, might be more and more elaborate. So in this one, you just get a customer feedback on what their thoughts on this. And this one, where it's a physical device, you might take physical measurements of it and strength and other physical measurements of that and put people in front of it, the sizing. So as you go through each of these iterations, your prototypes become more elaborate and the corresponding tests also become more elaborate. So in summary, human-centered design has the people at the center, and they are the focus. Who you're trying to help, what are their needs, can you create ideas and prototype them to satisfy their needs and get feedback from them. Now, again, we show this as a circle, and that's because this is an agile process. You repeat the cycle and you do it multiple times, each time refining, iterating, and maybe expanding. And sometimes you have to pivot, which means an area you thought was a problem, this topic you wanted to help them with, you might find out they really didn't have a problem with that, but something else they had a problem with. And that's where you start pivoting your ideas. Thank you.